Tawassul, intercession, is a khilaf issue. The majority of scholars permit tawassul, particularly with the Prophet ﷺ. Others, they permit it only with the Prophet ﷺ, but not with others. So it's a khilaf issue. It's a fiqh issue and not an aqidah issue. This is one of the odd things about it. It's not considered an aqidah issue because nobody believes, if they're Muslim, that they can benefit or harm them. And if they do, they're a mushrik. Makes sense? If you believe that that person can benefit or harm you, you are a mushrik. The question is, does the barrier of death stop them from being able to make dua for you? I can ask you right now, Ya akhi, ad'uli. That's tawassul. I don't say, Ya akhi, give me a child for my daughter. She hasn't been able to have a child. Give her a child, brother. That's shirk. But if I say, Ya akhi, my mother's sick, make dua for her. That's tawassul. So the question is, can you do that once the barrier of death comes down? Do they have tasarruf or not? Can they make dua for you? The majority of ulama said, yes, if they were salihun. Some of them said no, that إِذَا مَاتِ ابْنُ آدَمَ انْقَطَعْ مِنْ عَمْرِهِ إِلَّا مِنْ ثَلَاثٍ. Some of them say that that's idafa. I mean, this is why you have to study balagha and usul and all these things, because that illa, some say that hasr there is idafi, it's not haqiqi, it doesn't eliminate other ways of benefiting. But those are the three primary ways of benefiting. So, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ يَظَّلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ جَاءُوكَ وَاسْتَغْفِرَ لَهُمَ الرَّسُولُ لَا وَجَدَ اللَّهَ تَوَّابًا رَحِيمًا. In Surah An-Nisa, Ibn Kathir, in the tafsir of that hadith, he says, he quotes the famous story of Al-Utbi, who was from the Tabi'een. He was one of the great early Salaf. And he said, Ibn Kathir, who's a student of Ibn Taymiyyah, said that Al-Utbi was in the masjid and he saw a Bedouin come to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, qad qala Allahu ta'ala, and then he recited that verse, and then he said, so here I am, I've come to you, mustashfi'an, عندك, asking shafa'a, intercession, here. So he's talking to the Prophet directly. And then he quoted some lines of poetry that are still on the pillars in Medina to this day. يا خير من دفرت في القاع أعظمه فطاب من طيبهم الكاع والأكم نفسي فداء لي قبر أنت ساكنه فيه الجود والكرم والعلم والعفاف. The lines are there. So that, tawassul is the majority of our scholars said that it was permissible to ask the Prophet ﷺ to make dua for you, not to make dua to him. لا تدعوا مع الله أحدا. Don't, right? Dua, which is the belief that they're doing it, that they can benefit you or harm you, them. No, they're sabab. So it's just like going to a doctor and say, doctor, cure me. If you meant that he's the real shafi, then it's shirk. But if you meant, cure me with the asbab, I know you're a sabab, your medicine are asbab, then it's majaz mursal. It goes under the category of a permissible way of speaking. I took this medicine and it really benefited me. Did it really benefit you? Well, not really. I mean, God did, but through it. Right? So, but we don't have to talk like that all the time, as long as we understand that. And so that's the point. That's where the khilaf is. So it's actually an amal. It's not an i'tiqad. Is it permissible to do that action? The belief has to be that nothing in Allah's creation harms or benefits except Allah. Huwa nafi' wa dar. So it's not an aqidah issue, but it's been made an aqidah issue by certain sects and groups. But it is a valid, some of the ulama, after the 7th century, some of the ulama from the Athari tradition, based on Ibn Taymiyyah, he was the first one to reject it. Before him, you can find nobody in the history of Islam before Ibn Taymiyyah rejected it. And if you read his book, which I've read, التوسل والوسيلة. If you read his book, it's a little confusing because in some places he indicates that yes, there's types of tawassul that are permitted. And he, in the famous dua of Uthman bin Hunayf, which is a sahih dua that Al-Bazzar relates, where he went to the Prophet and he asked him to help him get cured. And he told him to go do wudu and then make this dua. And in the dua, "Atawassulu bika bi nabiyyika," I'm making a wasila with your Prophet. And then he says, "Ya Muhammadu," the Prophet's not there. "Shafi' fiyya," make shafa'ah for me. And we know that the Prophet ﷺ, if you say Salaam alaikum, he hears it.